I'm just going to teach you the basic chords you need to know in order to play Good as Hell. If you already know, here are the chords that we're going to be learning. If you already know all these chords in their different inversions, skip straight to part 2. This tutorial is for people who don't know their chords at all. So after we've done this tutorial, in part 2 we'll start actually getting to playing more of the intricacies of the song. Here's what you're going to learn in this part of the tutorial. Okay, and hopefully you can hear that that is the foundations for the whole song, which you're going to learn properly in the next 2 parts. Okay, so to begin this, I'm going to just explain a little bit about the this part will contain a little more theory than the other parts. The other 2 parts will get stuck right into playing the song as it is on the recording. But you're going to learn a bit of theory in case you're new to piano in this part. Okay, now the song is in the key of A flat major. I've written the scale out here for you. Basically, if you've never played piano before, you need to be able to locate an A. Okay, so look for, you'll see there's 2 black notes here, then 3 black notes, 2 black notes, 3 black notes. It just alternates on the piano. Find yourself 3 black notes. So here's 3 black notes, and A is located to the left of the 3rd black note. So that's an A. Okay, here's another A. And then basically on the piano the notes quite simply go A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and then you go back to A again. A, B, C, D, E, F, G for eternity in reality, but not on the piano because your piano doesn't go on for eternity. I assume, although you may have a more advanced piano than I have. Basically that's the notes A to A. As you'll see on this scale, there are 7 different notes, because the bottom and the top ones are both A's, okay? So 7 different notes, and you'll see that 4 of them are flat. This makes this quite a complicated key, okay? So let's just quickly run over that. A flat is quite simply, there's an A flat, you just go to the black note to the left, okay? So you'll see in the scale, I played the scale, A flat, B flat, C, D flat, E flat, F, G, A flat. Now you'll see that the first 2 notes are flat, then you've got a C, then you've got 2 more flat notes, and then 2 white notes. Okay, so that's all the notes you're going to use for this song. Basically, if you're playing a note that isn't listed here, you're playing the wrong note. Okay, right, let's get straight into the chords. This is a level 3 tutorial. That means you're going to be learning a class of chords which basically use a black, then a white, then a black note. So you're learning black, white, black chords. That's a quarter of your chords are of this class. So if you've gone through my level 1 tutorials, you'll have learned white, white, white chords. That's a quarter of your chords, 6 of your 24 chords. If you've done a level 2 tutorial, you'll have learnt your white, black, white chords, which is another quarter of your chords. So then you'll know half of your chords. And in this tutorial, you're going to learn black, white, black chords, and that's another quarter of your chords. So if you've done a level 1, level 2, and level 3 tutorial with me, you'll know 3/4 of your chords now, which is brilliant. Okay. So quite simply, to play a chord, you take any note from the scale. Let's take the A flat. Let's do that here. You skip a note, take the next note of the scale, C, skip a note, and then take the next note, E flat. Okay? That's a white, black, white chord. You'll see it's black at the edges, and there's a white note in the middle. Very simple. It's a major chord. Major chords basically sound happy. If you want to make that into a minor chord, you'd quite simply take the middle note and move it down a semitone. And that's a minor chord, okay? So make sure when you play these chords, the major chords, that you're playing to the right if there's 2 white notes to choose from, okay? In any scale, there are 3 major chords. A little bit of theory here. I hope you just bear with me. This will help you so much if you want to understand music, but I'll try and run this quickly. In any key, there are 3 major chords and 3 minor chords. So in this key, A flat, we've got 3 major chords, 3 minor chords. You basically don't have a chord built on note 7 in pop songs, and obviously note 8 is the same as note 1. So in any key, you only have 6 different chords, okay? 3 of them are major, 3 of them are minor. Now the major chords are always built on the 1st, the 4th, and the 5th notes of the scale. So in this key, the major chords are A flat, D flat, and E flat. And that's what we're going to deal with in this tutorial, okay? First thing I want to do is quickly get you playing this the major chords, A flat, D flat, and E flat, okay? And they all look identical. So let's take the A flat again. You go A flat, skip a note C, skip a note E flat. So that's your A flat chord, okay? Then the next major chord is D flat. So quite simply, you're going to do exactly the same thing. Put your thumb on the D flat, then you skip a note. The next note is sorry, D flat's here. D flat, skip a note, next note F, skip a note, and then A flat. So it looks exactly the same, you see. And then E flat looks exactly the same again. It's like a V shape in my mind, okay? So I want you to learn to quickly get from one of these chords to the next, okay? So we're going to do A flat, D flat, and E flat. Now, it's really important you learn to proficiently move between these because a quarter of your chords, as I mentioned, are black, white, black chords, okay? All of the black, white, black chords have a black note at the bottom and a black note at the top. It's worth quickly practicing this, locking your fingers. This is called a fifth, okay? Because it's the first note of the scale and the fifth note of the scale. So basically, what I suggest you do with me, put your thumb on D flat, and then your little finger on the fifth, which is A flat, and then lock your hand, move up to the next black note, and play a fifth again. Then move up to the G flat, play another fifth, and then A flat, and play another fifth. So you've got four. B flat is different. We won't deal with that now. So do this with me because you need to learn to play a fifth really quickly, okay? So you go D flat, fifth, lock your fingers, lift, E flat fifth, then move to G flat fifth, then move to A flat fifth. That's your fifths, okay? Get them really good before you move on, okay? So that's your fifth, and then you've just simply got your middle finger on the middle note. So let's try then going from, we're gonna go from A flat to D flat to E flat, because they are the three major chords in this key, okay? So you can put your pedal down, that way the notes ring on when you press the chord, and you don't have to, it gives you a bit of time to move to the next chord because you hear the notes ringing on. And then you release the pedal and put it down again for the next chord, okay? So do with me 4 times. We're going to do four A flats, 4 D flats, then 4 E flats, okay? So let's start with A flats. So 1, 2, do this with me, okay? So ready? 1, 2, 3, 4. Lock your fingers, lift your hand, move your thumb up to D flat. And then hopefully if your hand's locked, you'll drop nicely onto a D flat chord. Play 4 times, and then we're going to go to E flat. So lock your fingers, lift, move your thumb over to E flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, let's do that again. So A flat, lock, do your fifth and put your middle finger on the C. So do 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lock your hand, lift, move to D flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lock your hand, lift, move to E flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay. Now that's brilliant. All very easy. Unfortunately, nothing is easy in life. You've got to learn to play each of these chords in 3 different ways, and they're called inversions. You've got 2. This is the it's called, yeah, so there's 2 other ways you've got to learn to play all of these chords. So let's take a look at, I think the easiest one to do this with, probably should do it with A flat really. Yeah, let's do it with A flat. So, basically, if I was to take the A flat chord, you've got your fifth here, which I believe is the fundamentals of a chord. The middle note in my mind is a bit of it's like a sandwich with the filling. The middle note's a bit unstable, it can move around to there or to there, but these never change. So these are the fundamentals of the chord in my mind, okay? So this is your A flat chord. Now, for the 2 inversions, quite simply what you do is you take one of the notes from the chord. So we're going to take the top note of the A flat chord, the E flat, and we're going to move it down an octave to here. Okay, can you see what's happening there? So that's your normal A flat chord. We're moving the E flat down an octave, and then it looks like that. And I'm going to switch my fingers around. That is an inversion of the same chord, okay? Basically, then the other inversion, you take the C and move it down to here, and then this is another inversion of the same chord again, okay? So there's 3 different ways of playing the same chord. You're just moving the note down, and then you're moving the C down an octave. I hope you follow that, okay? You've got to learn to play all 3 of these inversions. Now, the way that I do this is as follows, and it's really important you get this. And to be honest with you, I started when I started playing pop piano, I was around, I'm going to give away my age here. I was around 30, and basically it took me, this is really embarrassing, but it took me about 2 years to learn to play all my chords. I'm dyslexic, that's my excuse. I have had pupils who've learnt it very quickly. Generally, it's quite hard for pupils to remember these chords. And it took me 2 years, and at the end of those 2 years, I realised it's a hell of a lot easier than I had realised. And what I'm trying to do here is teach you ways of learning these 24 chords and remembering them really quickly, because it shouldn't take you 2 years if you have a good method, and this will help you learn them quickly. So here's how we do this, the two inversions. So that's your standard chord, okay? Now what you'll notice, if I move to one of the inversions, we're going to move E flat down, and then the other inversion is this. What you'll notice is these two notes stay the same for both inversions, okay? Now, for the fifth, this is the fifth for the A flat chord. When with both the inversions, I move the fifth. This is the first, the A flat, and then the fifth is the E flat. I move the fifth down behind the A flat. Okay. So for both of these two inversions, you see the fifth is the E flat now is behind the A flat, and the distance is slightly closer. So look, that's a fifth. Now between those two notes, we have how should we say this? 1, 2, 3, 4. A space of 4 white notes. You see that between the two black notes, okay? But when we move the fifth behind, the E flat behind, so I call this a backwards fifth because the fifth's now moved behind the first, which is the A flat. So I call this a backwards fifth. You'll see it's slightly closer. There's only 3 white notes in between them. So for a normal fifth, this is the most important thing that you've got to take away from this. For a normal fifth, you've got 4 white notes in between, okay? When you do a backwards fifth, you take the fifth and put it behind the A. You've now only got a space of 3 white notes, okay? And what I want you to learn to do is learn to quickly play a fifth and a backwards fifth. It might be confusing, you might not understand me right now, but this is crucial for playing all of your chords, okay? Do this with me. We've already done the fifths. Do you remember we did this scale? But I want you to do backwards fifths now. Now, remember, the backwards fifth is slightly closer than the normal fifths. So what I want you to do is take your middle finger, put it on a D flat, and the backwards fifth, remember, you've got this 3 white notes in between, and then you've got your backwards fifth. That's a backwards fifth, okay? Do this with me. D flat, backwards fifth, move up. Lock your fingers, move up. That's an E flat, backwards fifth. Move up again, that's a G flat, backwards fifth. Move up again, remember you're looking at this finger each time, that's an A flat, backwards fifth. Do this with me. So, D flat, backwards fifth, E flat backwards fifth, G flat backwards fifth, A flat backwards fifth, okay? This is really important because now it becomes very easy to do your two inversions. All you do for the two inversions is you find a backwards fifth. So we're going to play an A flat chord, and we're going to call this middle finger inversion. Now the reason I call this middle finger inversion is it's very important. It'll help you learn be massively helpful, and this is one of the reasons why I found it so difficult to learn my chords. It's because I couldn't remember what I was playing. If you call it a middle finger inversion, it's very clear what chord it is because your middle finger is on the root. So this is an A flat chord. A flat middle finger inversion. Okay, so your middle finger goes on A flat, you do a backwards fifth, and then the other note is the C. Now both of your inversions look like this. There's a C there or a C there. That's your two inversions, as you'll see in a second, okay? I see this as like a hill. That's the top of the hill with the C's being the slopes on either side. And you've got to learn to see both inversions. That's what they look like, okay? So get used to seeing, put 2 fingers on here, and then just take your other hand and play a C and visualize what these 2 chords look like, because you're going to be playing both of these chords in a minute, okay? And I'll play, that's what the 2 chords are going to look like in a second, okay? Let's start with the middle finger version. You put your middle finger on A flat, you do a backwards fifth, and very simply put a C at the top. That's your middle finger inversion. For the little finger inversion then, you do the same, but this time you put your little finger on there, your index finger on there, and then your thumb on there. Let's quickly do this again. So we just did middle finger backwards fifth. I want you now to use your little finger. Put your little finger on a D flat. Remember, gap of 3 white notes, and then your index finger goes on the A flat. Okay, so this is D flat backwards fifth with your little, this is a little finger now. E flat, G flat, and A flat. I want you to do this with me. You ready? So put your little finger on D flat, put your index finger on A flat. That's D flat, E flat, do it with me, lock, move your fingers, G flat, move, A flat. Okay? So learn to do a backwards fifth with these 2 fingers and with these 2 fingers. And then the rest of the chord is simple. So we've got a middle finger inversion backwards fifth, you just stick the C on with your little finger. And then for your little finger inversion, you put your little finger there, index finger there, and then your C is down here. Seems complicated, but let's run through them quickly. So we're going to do both inversions very quickly, and then we'll get into the song. So, but the good news is that once you've done this, you'll be able to do any of my tutorials which use, which are a level 3. And you'll know 3/4 of your chords if you do my level 1, a level 2, and a level 3 tutorial. So you're fast becoming a competent pianist, pop pianist that is. So, first of all, let's do our middle finger inversion. We're going to put the middle finger on, we're going to do 3 chords again, A flat, D flat, and E flat. Exactly as we did before, we're doing middle finger inversion, okay? So, what we're going to do is going to put our middle finger on A flat, you do a backwards 5th, and then your little finger goes on C, alright? So, we're going to do 4 on each. So we're going to go, put your pedal down, 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to now move to D flat, because we're going to do chords 1, 4, and 5. There's 3 major chords in this key. So we've got, that's A flat. You're now going to lock your fingers, move your hand up to D flat. Whoops, and remember it's always the higher of the 2 white notes, okay? 1, 2, 3, 4. Lock your fingers, lift them, move up, put your middle finger on E flat. And that's your E flat middle finger inversion, okay? So this is a middle finger inversion we're doing now. Remember, you have to learn to play the chord in 3 different ways. Thumb inversion is the standard one we did at the beginning, which looks like that. We're now doing it with your thumb on A flat. Now we're doing a middle finger inversion. So you put your middle finger on A flat, backwards 5th, and then you've got the white note. Okay, so we're going to go 1, 2, do this with me, 3, 4, lock, lift, move your middle finger to D flat, 1, 2, 3, 4, lock your fingers, lift, move your middle finger to E flat, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's your middle finger inversion. Lastly, let's do the little finger inversion. I'm going to do this here, I think, now. So you're going to put your little finger on A flat, do your backwards 5th, remember with a gap of 3 white notes in between, and then your thumb goes on C. We're going to do 4 on each, okay? So we're going to do A flat first. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lock your fingers, lift. Your little finger now goes to D flat. This is a D flat chord. Remember, you always play the higher of the 2 if you want to play a major chord. If you want to make that into a minor, you just do that. That would be the minor. Keep it higher for the major. So, D flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Lock your fingers, lift them, and then move to E flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Let's do that one more time. So we're going to lock our fingers, move all the way back, put your little finger on A flat. So 1, 2, 3, 4. Then D flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then E flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's how you play the 3 inversions of, or 3 positions of a black, white, black chord. Now you've learnt that, we can get right into playing the song. So, this is the, these are the chords, okay, here. It should all be easy to play now. We're going to start with an A flat chord, thumb inversion. Now I've said 1 because it's called 1 in this key, you'll see. A flat is chord 1, so I've put 1 here, thumb inversion, which is an A flat chord, okay? So you're going to put your thumb on A flat, you're going to do a 5th, so put your thumb on, your little finger on E flat, you've got a gap of 4 there in between, okay? And then the middle finger goes on the higher of the 2 white notes, C. And then you've got your thumb inversion, A flat. We're going to do this twice. Okay, so we're going to go pedal down, 1, 2. Actually, let's do it 4 times because it'll make it easier for now. So we're going to do 4 times. 1, 2, 3, 4. Very simply now we're going to do a little finger inversion, E flat. Now, this is the great news is your little finger is already on E flat, which is great. So the next thing you've got to do is your backwards 5th. Now remember we worked on this. It looks like that. There's a gap of, with a backwards 5th, there's a gap of 3 in between. So you've got your backwards 5th, okay? And then your thumb goes here, just a little bit further back, like a 3rd it's called. So you skip a note, then your thumb goes there. That's your E flat little finger inversion, okay? Hopefully that makes sense from having done the work we've just done before that. So there's your little finger inversion, E flat. Do it 4 times with me. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're now going to play an A flat, but unfortunately it's now a middle finger inversion. So it's not the same as the one at the beginning because we're going to do a middle finger inversion A flat. So what you're going to do now is take your middle finger, always the first thing you do is you find the root, okay? So your middle finger is going to go on A flat. Because it's an inversion, you do a backwards 5th. So there's a gap of 3, and then your thumb goes on the next black note there, okay? But after the gap of 3, good. and then your little finger goes on the higher of the two white notes, okay? So then we're going to play that 4 times. Middle finger inversion A flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here's where it gets really simple. We're now going to play a C minor chord, which is a level 2 chord. So I'm not going to go through that in this tutorial. If you want to understand level 2 chords, find one of my tutorials that's a level 2 tutorial. But it's really simple. Basically, I'm not even going to explain it at all. I'm just going to tell you, you take this finger and you switch the A flat here for a G. And then that's a C minor little finger inversion. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4. So that's the A flat. You then switch this middle finger, move it to the index finger on the G. Very easy. So I'm not going to bother explaining because it's so easy. Okay, you want to understand that? You need to find one of my level 2 tutorials. Okay, so let's put that all together. So we're going to do 4 in each. Thumb inversion A flat. 1, 2, 3, 4. Little finger inversion E flat. So you've got your little finger, then you do the backwards fifth, and your thumb goes there. 1, 2, 3, 4. In fact, let's just work on that. Very simple. Well, this is probably, well, yeah, it's not actually too simple, but let's just work on this. So remember, you're going to go from your A flat thumb inversion, you keep your little finger there, you're going to switch to the index finger on this black note here. Do you see that? And then your thumb is going to go down 1. So you've got to learn to do this switch. Very important here for this point of the song. So there's your A flat. You're going to move your thumb just down. Do you see that? Just down 1 note, and then your index finger is going to go on that black note. And I want you to practice this with me. So go from your A flat. I would personally go for the backwards fifth first. Put your index finger on the black note, and then just move the thumb back and take that one away. Okay, so let's do this together. Ready? So I want you to go A flat, then put your index finger on the B flat, move your thumb back, you go to E flat little finger inversion. Okay, so we're going thumb inversion A flat, okay, your index finger, do this with me, put it on the black note there, and then move your thumb back to here, and then you've got a nice E flat little finger inversion. If you want to play this song, practice that 1,000 times until you get really proficient at the change. It's going to be crucial, not just for this song, but for loads of other songs you play, that you learn to quickly change. This same change will happen in loads of songs, basically, okay? Take the time to learn to do that shift, okay? So we're going to go 1, 2, actually, it's actually twice, okay? So we're going to go 1, 2, shift to the E flat little finger version, 1, 2. Now we're going to go to the A flat middle finger inversion. Now this is a big jump. You're going to put your middle finger on A flat, obviously because it's a middle finger inversion A flat. You do the backwards fifth, so your thumb reaches out to this black note, which is quite easy to find because there's a nice gap there. Okay, and then your little finger goes onto the C. Okay, and you play that twice. Let's do these 2 chords because they're quite easy to change between. As I mentioned, all you do is you change for this to get from here to the middle finger version A flat to the little finger version C. You simply switch this black note, put your index finger on the G behind it. And I want you to do them twice each. So we're going to go from here twice. 1, 2, switch index finger to G. 1, 2. Do it with me. Ready? So we're going to go middle finger inversion. Hopefully you've got all this sorted. Middle finger on A flat, backwards fifth, and little finger on C, okay? So there you do that twice, and then switch index finger to G. Keep the others the same, 1, 2, okay? Do that again. So we're gonna do that twice, and then put your index finger on G. 1, 2. Just learn to make that switch, okay? Then you've got this bit sorted, this bit sorted. One thing left then is to, one thing that then is left is to go between these 2. So we better try this. So we're going to do little finger E flat, which was that. Okay, little finger on E flat, backwards fifth, and thumb goes on G. Okay? And then what we've got to do, what I suggest you do is then you reach for the backwards fifth. Your middle finger is going to go onto E flat, and then you're going to do a backwards fifth like that. Your little finger will go there, but that's the thing which I think I'd encourage you to get. So hopefully you'll already be here, I hope, because you've done these 2. And then from here, you're going to get your middle finger onto the A flat and do a backwards fifth. Just practice that with me. So we're going to go from here, middle finger onto the A flat and do a backwards fifth, like that. Just do it with me, okay? One more time. Middle finger reaches for the A flat and then a backwards fifth, and all that's left is putting your little finger on C. Okay, so we're going to do that again. Ready? 1, 2, middle finger on the A flat, backwards fifth, and then little finger on C. And I want you just to practice that change with me. So from here, so you've got E flat, backwards fifth, and G. Ready? And we're going to move now, middle finger to A flat. Just practice that change with me. I hope that you just keep doing it over and over till you've got it perfect. Backwards fifth, little finger on C. Okay, one more time. Then you go for the backwards fifth, little finger on C. Notice how I don't turn my hand very much. You don't want to be going, you shouldn't be going, a lot of people when they're playing these things, they twist like that, and then, oh, for this one, we'll twist that way. Don't do that. I say just keep your hand pretty much parallel to the keyboard the whole time. If you need to get to a black note, just shift forward till you get to the black note. So here you see we've got to get my thumb up to there. As I move to the left, I'm also shifting forward till my thumb just perches there, which ends up bringing these two quite far forward. Okay, right, I hope you've got this now. We're going to do all 4 of these chords. Are you ready? So we're going to go 1, 2, then these 2 fingers come to here to get to the E flat twice. Going to go to that middle finger inversion, A flat, 1, 2, and then switch to the index finger to get to the C minor twice. Do it with me. Basically, every single component of this, just work on those 2, work on those 2, work on those 2, and don't try and put it all together till you've got every single component perfect. If you follow what I'm saying, you should be able to do this, okay? Even if you're a beginner, if you put enough work into each of the changes, you should be able to do this, okay? So let's go back to A flat. So we're going to go 1, 2, changing to little finger inversion E flat, 2, middle finger inversion A flat twice, and then to C twice. Do it with me, ready? So we're going to go A flat twice, bring these 2 fingers to here to get to this E flat, then middle finger inversion A flat, and then the index finger here is C minor. Okay, that's it. Okay? That's what you got to learn to do. The bass notes are very simple. For the A flat, it's obvious. Generally, you play the bottom note of the chord, the A flat, in the bass. So you see I'm playing an A flat octave, little finger on A flat, thumb on the octave higher. And you just play that once. Okay? When you play that chord. The E flat is slightly weird. You usually would play an E flat in the bass for the E flat, but this, we're actually going to play the middle note of the chord, which is a G, which actually is really easy because then you go from here, 1, 2, see we're just moving down to a G, so we're moving octave. By the way, octaves are a little tricky at first, but you've got to get used to just locking your hand and getting an octave. It takes a little bit of practice. And also, if you don't want to do the octave, if you're struggling with that, just do single fingers like that. Instead of doing, because what we're going to do is this. Very simple. That's going to be our 3 bass notes. A flat, G, F. And if you're struggling with octaves, just go. Just do the single finger, okay? But this is going to go, we're going to go down to G as we go to the second chord here. And then moving to F as we go to the third chord. Again, that is not, this actually isn't an A flat chord, okay? But I just try and simplify things so that so you can play this. It's actually an F minor 7th chord, I think. Don't worry about that. The important thing is basically you're playing an A flat in this hand and an F in the bass. There, okay? And then you just switch to that and you don't play a new bass note, okay? So you're going bum, bum, bum. Very simple. Ready? 1, 2, move down. And of course, because your pedal's down, you don't need to tap that. And then you're ready to move to the next one. When you play the second chord, you release the pedal, put it down on the second chord. You should actually put the pedal down, release and put it down slightly later, but that's a bit complicated at this point. We'll just basically put the pedal down on each new chord for now, okay? So, basically you're going to go A flat twice, you're going to go to E flat with a G in the bass, 1, 2, and then we're going to go down to this A flat with an F in the bass. And then we're going to do this, just switch to that last chord there. Okay, so we've got A flat, G, F, and then that's that done. Let's do that together. Ready? 1, 2. 1, 2, 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 1, 2. One more time. 1, 2, 1. Why is that not ringing on? 1, 2, and then lastly 1, 2, and then 1. Okay, That was a very complicated tutorial. That is because this is a level 3 tutorial. Black, white, black chords are very complicated, okay? But after you've done this tutorial, you will be able to do this class of chords, which is a third of your chords. Which covers a third of your chords. And so it's worth putting the time into this, because then you're going to be able to play a quarter of all of your chords once you can play this. Do a level 1 and level 2 tutorial, and then you've learned, basically you will have learned pretty much all of your chords, because I'll teach you the remaining chords within those tutorials generally, okay? So take the time to get that perfect. Then when you move to the next part of the tutorial, we'll race through all the intricacies of what's being played in this song, but get this perfect first, because these are your foundations, okay? So now, if you want to learn the rest of the song, all the intricacies of how to play exactly as it's being played on the original track, good as hell, move along now to part 2. I hope it's been complicated. I hope I haven't lost you. I hope if you've any struggles, I hope I've carefully explained everything. Just rewind the video if there's anything that's complicated. Leave some comments if there's something I haven't explained very well. Leave comments and I will respond to your comments hopefully, and explain anything you're confused about. So now, if you want to learn the rest of the song, move along to part 2.